We are with you one more time. Another Semaj MindSpa. Just to remind you that the mind, the ultimate frontier, source of consciousness. Spa. First, you remove toxins, but then, most importantly, you provide enlightenment, insights. I want to talk about this thing called fathering. Fathering is extremely important. We have seen discussions come about, well, should we have DNA testing? Should it be mandatory? But then a lot of red herrings have been drawn across the path. I think it's important for us to be aware of sophistry, be aware of semantics. Let's try deal with reality because this is indeed the mind spa. Fathering is absolutely important. I want to start with the notion that look, fathers have rights. Fathers have rights. It's become fashionable to almost pretend that no, nothing goes like that. A father has a right to know who his children are. You know, I subscribe to the law of parenting that says that if you are so fortunate as to be part of the future, part of the immortality, is cared for. You're responsible to feed, clothe, shelter, educate, positively socialize until at least age 18, irrespective of death, breakup, or divorce. Because look, you caused that life to be born. So fathers have a right to know who their children are. We can also add to it now that look, children have rights. Children have a right to know who their father is. You know, this African American saying that mama's baby, that is maybe. But we can get beyond that. We can make it. The issue now about paternal involvement. One of the things that it does, it helps to stabilize a child's existence. Father has a role to play in the child's life, going all the way through from day one. And we have, it's become fashionable now to all this book, My Mother Who Fathered Me. I wish that everyone who used that title could also read the book and to see that there was nothing in the book that actually made the title have sense. It was a fashionable thing to say. What's the benefit of fathering? Why it's important? One, a father's responsiveness to his children and his emotional availability. These are key characteristics that facilitates the child's development. The child needs both the mother and the father. Children whose fathers participate relatively more in the emotional side of parenting, the comforting. The data shows that these children have a higher self-esteem than children whose fathers are less involved. The children are getting more positive male energy. It's also appropriate to say that emotions are only for and from mothers. No, they also come from fathers too, and it helps to stabilize the child. In early childhood, a father provides approval and recognition of the child and also helps the child become more autonomous and self assertive. So, children with active fathering are more self assertive. Child rearing in our culture involves helping the child develop more autonomously, and active fathering helps move the child in that direction. But most importantly, paternal involvement seems to be a good predictor of adult adjustment better than maternal involvement. So we have to find a way to get this happen. And too many times it is not happening. A lot of mothers are giving fathers the option to be responsible. I don't care if you support the children or not, I don't care. Huh? I just want to have a child and you can go on about your business. That is not in the child's best interest. That is not in the man's best interest. That is not in the society's best interest. Because it's important that the rights of children also have to be supported. Children have a right to know who their father is because that's half of your bloodline. It's half of who you are. It's half of what makes you up. And one of the most important things about parenting and fathering, folks, the question is now, should we make it mandatory that in order for the father's name to be involved, there must be a DNA test? Now, think about it. If the mother says that John Brown is the father of the child, she can put it on the birth certificate. What if it's erroneous? Why not just make sure that it is correct? It is correct from day one, so we don't have to even debate it. My observation about how social behavior operates is that anything that takes place in the public sphere that is not regulated will inevitably have to be subsidized. So that if we don't regulate the whole context of parenting and fathering, ultimately, we're going to have to subsidize it, as we now see in children in need of care and protection. So let's see if we can get this one correct. Huh? Let's see if we can do the right thing. As I said, look, slavery broke the bond between father and children. A male could just procreate with no responsibility for having to care for and socialize those children. Children grew up without even knowing who was their father because the slave master took responsibility for all the children who are born on that plantation. But now we are beyond slavery now. We're trying to build a nation and shape a society. So one, we need men to be active fathers. We need women to make conscious choice about who they allow into their womb. Active choice. We need men to have active responsibility for rearing their children, so that fathering is critical, and we have to make sure that we enforce everything that makes this possible. Children are a lot more stable when they have both energies to work with, the male energy, the female energy. We don't just arbitrarily put a man's name on a birth certificate, arbitrarily call a man's name. No, we don't do that. I had a very interesting case many years ago where a father brought a son to me. They were having serious disputes, almost to the point of violence between father and son. And after the son listened and listened and listened to the father give his sides, and then the son said, "You have no right to talk to me like that as my father. I know who my mother is. You claim, everyone told me that your wife was my mother. I know that the helper is my mother. I know that you impregnated the helper and your wife took the responsibility of rearing me. And that this was the family secret. And you now trying to be this wonderful person and you breed the helper." So, folks, it comes back to haunt us. Let's see if we can get this correct. Fathering is important from every angle, every perspective. Let's see if we can get this right. We need to.